Welcome to On the Move.
And Mr. Freeman?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So when I want to be clear about where you were, where Mr. Worley was when you first saw him.
Okay.
Mr. Worley was around the area of the fireworks stand when you first saw him, correct?
That is correct.
Outside the flag area surrounding the stand.
Correct.
And he was walking towards the Big Owl's entrance, is that correct?
I wouldn't
Towards
say
the building.
Yes.
But he was pretty far away across that parking lot, right?
Correct.
It wouldn't be surprising that if he didn't know Big Owl ahead of time, that he wouldn't know what was there, right?
Technically, he was in the Big Owl's parking lot.
Understood,
Yeah.
but it's far away and there's trees, and if he doesn't know what's there, he might not know what's there, right?
Yeah, it's a building. You wouldn't necessarily know what it is.
And when you first saw him and saw the weapon, you didn't call it in, right?
I observed for a minute just to kind of see where he was heading, what was going on.
In fact, he walked closer towards the building, right?
Correct.
And then as he gets half that parking lot away still from the building, he veers to the left, his left, is that right?
Correct.
And he walks away from the Big Owl's building, correct?
Away from the building itself?
Away from the front entrance, right?
Correct.
And it's not until he starts veering left that you call into dispatch, right?
Around that time, correct.
Around that time. And then after dispatch, you called the lockdown.
Correct.
Now initially, when you saw Mr. Worley, you were over towards the 164th Street, closer towards 164th Street than the front entrance of Big Owl's, right? You weren't right in front of Big Owl's.
By definition, I was far away from 164th.
Yeah, I'm trying to give a point of reference.
Okay.
You weren't in the front of Big Owl's. You weren't right in front of the front doors.
Correct.
Right?
I was just north of that.
You were just north, which is towards 164th Street itself.
164th was behind Mr. Worley.
Okay. There's a street right there. Why don't
Correct.
we do this?
I believe that's 18th.
You think it's what?
I think that's 18th Street.
18th Street?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where he was headed.
He was heading towards that direction.
Direction-wise,
Yeah.
right? You were closer towards him when you first saw him. When he started walking, you walked towards the front of Big Owl's, correct?
Correct. As he started advancing towards the building, I
Right.
advanced it back.
But you still hadn't called it in at that point.
Not at that point.
Not until he veers left.
When he got to the corner, I called it in, and then
Okay.
he started veering left.
Right. Your company is Pacific what?
Pacific Response.
Pacific Response.
Correct.
They have a policy for when doing a lockdown, isn't that right?
That's correct.
And what is that policy?
Is whenever time we feel like there's a threat to person or life, is we lock down facilities.
And when you testified before, you said anytime there's a potential threat.
Potential threat, yeah.
Okay. And you were following that policy, right?
I was following my own feeling, is that there could be an issue, and to
Right.
lock it down.
But there wasn't anything Mr. Worley did other than carry this weapon slung over his shoulder, which made you concerned that there was an issue, right?
Fair to say, yes.
You had said on your direct examination that it isn't normal for somebody with a weapon to be walking into a family fun center, I think is what you said. And I want to clarify that because at no time was Mr. Worley walking into the family fun center, right?
Correct. Walking in a parking lot of a family fun center.
Okay. And there's also some testimony about the other businesses. I think there's a yoga studio, there's some restaurants.
Correct.
There's a Walgreens. And you didn't see him walking towards those businesses either, correct?
I did not.
And these people that you saw, I think you described them as moving at fast pace or jogging or maybe running. You don't know where they came from? You didn't see where they started?
They came from the parking lot. I'm not sure what exactly where. Half the parking lot was blocked off, so it would be in the immediate area of the front.
Do you know whether or not Big Al's has a firearms policy?
I can't speak for what Big Al's has.
You don't know, but you provide security. They don't tell you what their policies are.
They do have policies in place that we follow, but I would have to refer you to speak to the owner and CEO of Kirkwood and Kirkwood for him to address those.
Is that because you don't know, or you're not willing to say?
I don't know the exact tone. I can't read it word for word, so I would not want to testify that what the policy exactly says.
Okay, so can we just, if you can, I'm not trying to box you in here, but if you can, generally, are firearms allowed in
Instead
Big
of
Al's?
object to relevant since he never went into Big Al's.
Sustain.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Redirect?
Just had a couple questions. Just trying to do in the order. He was just asking you about the people, and you said they came from the parking lot that
Correct.
were. Moving quickly. Okay. Is that the same parking lot that the individual with the gun was in?
Realistically, yes. There's areas in that parking lot that looks like it's different parking lots, but it's all the same parking lot.
Okay. He also was asking you or eliciting testimony that you were advancing back towards the front entrance of Big Al's.
I call it retreating back towards the front
I was going to
entrance.
ask, why did you do that? What was going through your head?
There's a man with a weapon approaching, and I'm not going to sit there and take the chance.
Why didn't you walk towards him?
With the man with the weapon?
Yeah.
It's realistically not my job to interact with that. It's my job to protect if needed.
Okay. And I don't mean to ask what's already been asked, but I think it was a potential threat. You'll go into lockdown?
Yeah, I mean,
Why not wait for the actual threat?
because then it's too late.
And no further questions.
Recross?
Yes, Your Honor. The parking lot that Mr. Worley was in, this big parking lot, it's the same parking lot the fireworks stand in.
Correct.
Right? It's this huge parking lot.
Correct.
Right? You have a gun on you that evening?
I had a taser.
You had a taser?
Correct.
Sometimes you carry a gun?
Correct.
Do you not when you're at Big Al's?
At Big Al's, most of the time I do not.
Did you ever have a reason to pull the taser out?
I would never pull a taser out of someone that has a firearm.
Mr. Worley didn't do anything other than carry a firearm across a parking lot that night, as far as you observed. Isn't that correct?
He had me scared enough to lock down an entire facility.
I'm not asking how you felt.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking what you observed him. The only thing he did was walk across a parking lot with a weapon, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware of the legal standard of warranting alarm?
I'm not.
Objection
So you
outside
can't-
the scope.
He asked
Sustain.
him,
The court will instruct the jury as to the definitions, applicable definitions.
you can't testify as to whether the policy you were following has how it relates to the legal standard of warranting alarm, correct?
I cannot.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Randall?
I have any further questions, Your Honor?
Am I being detained right now, officer?
Let me see your ID.
No, thank you.
What's that?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, why are you saying no, thank you?
I know it's my Fourth Amendment right. I don't have to show you my identification. Okay, so you're not going to answer me. Okay. What's your badge number?
1382.
And your name?
Devlin.
Cheers.
1382.
1975.
Name?
Troyer.
You do know that you're required by law to actually give me your name when I
just
ask.
did.
Really comfortable too. That's one thing I really like about this bag is the comfort level of it. But anyway, so let me move on here and we'll start showing the back here, show the features. First thing first here, we got the front of it.